If you're trying to use a CFD to simulate a fire, you probably are using one of the most popular tools in the world, Fire Dynamic Simulator by NIST. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a native user interface, but there is a really good companion providing you with a really nice user interface. It's gonna cost you $0 and it's gonna help you quite a lot in developing all the basic code that you need for your FDS simulation. Hello everyone, I'm Professor Rino and I have over 10 years experience in research related to fire protection engineering. I like to make video to show people to use new exciting tool and optimize and automate your workflow. Tool that we are gonna check together today is called BFDS. Used to be called BlenderFDS. It was released only a few weeks ago and it works with FDS. I've already made a short introduction about what is FDS, so we can go and have a look at it. FDS is one of the most popular tools in fire protection engineering to simulate fire and smoke propagation inside a building. It was developed by NIST. They even have nice mugs. Just kidding. I've been at NIST several times and it's a really beautiful place where you can do research. FDS can be used in many versatile ways, probably even to design the pizza oven for your next home. I don't know if anyone has ever done it, but probably it's still possible. And he has his own way to input data using a code. What we do in FDS is to discretize the space in cubes. So it's basically a Minecraft for grown-up like me. And after you do it, you can of course simulate the fire spread and the smoke spread in this environment just using computational fluidodynamics, something that is really advanced, and there are full course explaining the principle that you must know before doing any advanced stuff in CFD. So go and look at the documentation. In the previous video, we have been spending time installing all the tools required to run FDS using BlenderFDS, BFDS. In this second video, we are gonna see how we can start with the standard project of BFDS and make some change. So we are gonna do some modification on that project, and this is gonna help us to familiarize with all the other Blender shortcuts that you need to familiarize with. And you will see that the more you modify existing file or you generate a new file, the better you're gonna get in generating new scenario completely starting from zero. So I hope you will enjoy this second part of the tutorial. Let's go and have a look at it. So we are back to Blender. This is the starting scene. It might look a bit overwhelming, but it's not really. You need just to spend a bit of time using this tool. So the first things I want to do with you is to modify the domain. Let's assume that I want to have a much higher resolution of this domain, and I want also to increase the size of this domain. Let's just go for the first step and check how we can change the size of the domain. So here you can see that the size of our mesh is 0.2 meters. So if we want to modify, we can go and click here and change the number of cells, and you'll see that you will have the possibility to reduce the cell size. So we will have a much smaller cell. That implies that it's gonna take much longer to run the simulation. There are a lot of videos and there is a lot of information telling you what are the right size of meshes. Depends most of the time on the fire dimension, not the geometrical, but the amount of heat that is gonna be released. So we're gonna probably have a video just dedicated on that. Let's go and see if we want to actually change the size of this domain. I want to make it much taller. So what I'm gonna do is to select domain, go to items, and here you will see that you have the possibility to change the geometry. So in this case, I want to scale the domain going up, make it twice as much. So you can see that the domain has been changed, but this doesn't imply that we have any change on the meshes. In fact, you will see that now this mesh has cubes that are 0.1, 0.1 and 0.2. So in this case, we need to reflect the change by duplicate also the number of cell that we want on the z-axis. So if we want to show the two domains, in fact, if you see here that the mesh is split in two, we can just show geometry and be happy with it. So the other things of course we need to do is to change the opening, because it hasn't been changed accordingly. So the things that I'm gonna do here is to select it, go to items, and also in this case add 2 here, and you'll see that now it's connected to the domain sides. So let's make it invisible, and let's assume that we want to add another element right on top of the fire. So let's see what are the options that we have. So if you want to add a simple standard mesh of Blender, what you need to do is press Shift and A. You see here you have the possibility to add a different type of mesh. In my case, I want to intentionally add something that is not like cubic or something that is easily discretizable in FDS, just to show you what option you have there. So let's get one of the most complicated one, torus. So you can see that the mesh is already there, and if we click on this element here, you will see that you have the possibility to change the characteristic of this mesh. First of all, I'm gonna try to put it on top of my fire. So let's say that we want it 2 meters, and it's calculating 2 meters from the domain center here. I always try to put the cursor right here in the center. If you see that the cursor is somewhere else, I'm gonna show you in a few seconds how we can sort it out. So you can see that 2 meters is probably not enough. I'm gonna put it 3 meters. And the other things that you can do is to change the resolution. Let's zoom in of this mesh. You can change this number, and you'll see that the geometry gets much more refined. So let's put something like 60 here and 120 on this other panel. In this case, I'm relatively happy with these donuts on top of the fire. Let's go and see what we can do next. So you can see that the torus is probably in the wrong section. You can copy and paste. You can just drag and drop in the list of elements in the category where you really want to have it. And the first thing we need to do to make sure that it's used in FDS is to select it. Then we go to FDS object. We need to define the property of this object. So if you use a standard object of FDS, we can just go here and press XB. And if you use it as a boundary box, you will see that it's not gonna really be useful for us. In fact, it's gonna be converted just in a box. So that's not what we want. The option that back in the day was only available, it was to voxel it. So if we press voxel, we can even define the resolution. The grid resolution that we have already for our mesh is 0.1, so this resolution is aligned. And if we go and see the geometry, you'll see that this mesh has been decomposed in many different elements. You can see that there is also something that is not really what we wanted. You can see here that we have not the whole, the voxelation, let's call it voxelation, didn't work really well. Probably this is a bug that we need to fix in the future version of BlenderFDS. And as I said, I'm not really happy with this solution. So today we have the possibility to use something else, because FDS has been introduced geometry, so in which you have the possibility to have a different shape that are not any longer cubes. So you don't need to decompose this geometry into Lego pieces as we have done before. Let's go and see in FDS what you have as an option. So here you have the possibility to check the mesh capability. In fact, if you go into the documentation, you will see that only some specific type of mesh can be adopted. So if I press here, it said that the geometry is okay. Don't forget to do it by having two tools selected. And what's next? We have also the possibility to remesh in case the sanity wasn't going really well. So you can use one of the two options. And if we press voxel-remesh, you'll see that this has been rediscretized in a way that is gonna be not problematic for FDS. So once we have done this, we can go and select the material of the tour, we can put a standard material, inert. So you can see that the color has been also changed accordingly. And if we want a really nice color donuts, we can put it pink, just for fun. And now we can run the FDS simulation. So you can see that now we have the donuts with the new color that we have been selecting from the material. And of course now FDS is running the simulation, so you can see that the fire is growing, and you have also the possibility to see smoke interacting with the mesh. We can zoom in and see how this is happening with this complex geometry. So let's go and have a look what else we can modify in this scenario, just to become familiar with this tool. Yes, this video is pretty challenging. We are discovering a lot of new things, and I hope you don't mind giving us some support by pressing like and subscribe just below this video. We are really grateful for your support. Let's go back to the tutorial. So as I mentioned before, the cursor you can see here can be located in different parts of the 3D model. What I generally try to do is to keep it always in the origin, and if this is not the case for you and you wanna recenter it, the trick here is to press Shift and S. So let's go Shift S. You'll see that you have the possibility to select different option. I'm gonna put it cursor to world origin and keep it there. So this is the other trick that you need to be aware of. You need also to be mindful that there are a lot of shortcuts. Many of them I have probably no idea of. And today I'm gonna show you others that can be useful for developing new scenario and modify existing scenario. So let's go and modify even further this scenario. I'm gonna put a new slice here and measure velocity. So to do it, we have this option here. You press Shift A. First of all, we need to be clicking this domain, Shift A, and I'm gonna add a plane. So you can see that the plane has been moved below our object. I'm gonna open this panel here and not rotate it. The rotation is fine. I'm gonna translate it, and let's say that we want it at 4 meters. And the other option that we have here, of course, is to locate in different area. The sides, I'm gonna expand it to 4 so you can cover the full domain, and press anywhere here in the domain. So you can see the new plane, it's there. What we need to do is to move it here in the outputs, but the real important things to do is to go here in the FDS characteristic of the object and select slice. So you can see that now it has been disappearing, and here we can type velocity. But if you click on this icon here, you'll see that you have also many other elements, or you can go and check on the FDS guide. So we can also have vectors and the other elements that I'm gonna select XB, and I think we are good to go. So let's go and run the simulation and see the results of this new slice. You can see FDS is now running, and we have already half second of simulation. Let's go and open Smokeview as well. So Smokeview is here, and if we go and see the slice, you will see that we have the velocity slice at 4 meters, and you have the possibility to visualize the full velocity, or we have also the possibility to visualize the vectors. You'll see that as the fire grows, of course, the arrows are gonna be pointing up. So the next things that I want to add in this scenario is a fan somewhere here that is pumping air into the domain and moving the smoke and the fire in one direction. So to do it, the first things that we need to do is to create an object on which we are gonna then apply a vent. So let's add first of all this object. I'm gonna press once again Shift A. Let's select the domain first, Shift A. In this case, probably a cube will do the work, and I'm gonna change the dimension to 0.2, and then I'm gonna shift in, let's shift it in the X direction. So I'm gonna put it somewhere at the extreme of my domain. So 1.2, let's say 1.9. And if we want it on the other side, we need just to put a minus here. And the other things that I can do now is to rescale it. I can go in items, select the new cube to be within the obstacle here, and rescale here. So you can rescale it much as you want. In this case, I'm gonna rescale it 10 times and move it upwards for 1 meter. So we have this new element here. So if we want to create a new vent here, we have the possibility to select once again a new plane and apply straight away, or you have this other shortcut that I'm gonna show you now. So first of all, we need to go to object mode, of course, while selecting the elements that we are about to modify. Then you need to click here on select faces. You can see that we have been selected this face. Now we are gonna press Shift D to duplicate it. And if we wanna move it on any direction, let's say that we wanna fix it and move it on the X direction, in that case we can press X and it's gonna move only on the X direction, and then you can type a number. In our case, the vent needs to be attached to the object, so we can press 0, press OK, and then P, select. So you can see that now we have a new element, and potentially here we can create a new list of elements called vents, but it's not really necessary. It's just a matter of how you want to organize all your elements. So let's go and change the name and call it vent. So vent 1 is there. Let's go back to edit mode, our original visualization. So you can see that the vent, we call it vent, but it's not yet a vent, is there. We need now to go in the FDS object FDS property and select vent. Let's go back to cube and define its FDS property. So yes, it's gonna be our OBST. Then we need to create a boundary box, and you can see that the FDS code has been created. Now we go and change the property of the vent. So in this case, we need to select vent, and we are gonna define a new material for this vent. And as always, to do it, we need to go to materials, create a new material. In this case, we can leave it. If you want, you can change the color of the material, but we are gonna add a new parameter here to specify that we want floor coming. So we are gonna put well equal -5. So you can change the intensity here depending on what you are trying to achieve. So let's try now to go back first of all and see if the material being used. Yes. And if you wanna avoid using common names, you can call it material_1, and as you modify here, it's gonna get modified here as well. So we should be ready to go. Let's run FDS. You can see that the simulation is running. So let's wait a few seconds of simulation and open Smokeview. So Smokeview is opening as well, and you can see that the new element has been included, and we have also a nice vent here. Let's see if it's working within the simulation. So let's see the impact on the smoke. So you can see here that probably we don't have enough simulation time. So let's wait a bit for FDS to run more seconds. So you can see that it's going really slow because we increased the number of elements in our domain. If we want to have a quick look how the simulation is running, we can go back and change the property of the simulation. We go back to scene. Actually, we don't need to go to scene. We go to domain and we change the characteristic of the mesh. So in this case, I'm gonna put it back to 0.2 meter in every direction and try to simulate again. In this case, it's gonna go much faster. But of course, you can do this trick for real simulation. You always need to have an accurate estimation of the cell side. This is just a demo, so we need something faster, so that's why we are doing this trick. And it will be good just to test whenever you have a new simulation and you want to just see if it's up and running and all the elements are working properly before you do the proper simulation. So we have already generated 10 seconds of simulation. Let's go and press Smokeview. So you can see the Smokeview is opening, and this is the visualization in Smokeview. Let's go and see what happened. So you can't really see the impact of the wind, not much, because you can see slightly that is going bending on the right hand side, but not that much. We can definitely increase the size of this vent here, or we can go and change the property of the vent. Let's see, for instance, if we double this number here, what is gonna happen for us. So done it, and run FDS again. Let's go and have a look at the results in Smokeview. Here we have a problem because we are running FDS while FDS was already running, so we need to stop it and run FDS again. This is a common problem. Sometimes you have FDS already running, you press run again, and then you receive that error, say, hey mate, I'm already running the simulation. So let's go and see Smokeview with this new parameter for the vent and see what happened. So you can see that now the impact is much more evident and the impact of the wind is there. We can go even and have a look at the slice that we located before. So we can go and see the velocity and see that basically the impact of the wind speeding up and pushing the smoke in one direction. So we can go and see also the vector slice. If we go here, you can see that the impact of the new vent pushing the fire, pushing the smoke in one direction. So this second video was much more challenging than the previous one. You have discovered a lot of new shortcuts that you can use in Blender and use it for BFDS. And as always, thanks for watching this video. If you want more customized video on BFDS or any other tool related to fire protection engineering, especially evacuation, please ask and I'll be back to you with a new exciting video. So this is the end of this episode, and I'll see you to the next episode. Bye!